My Lords, it is a testament to perhaps the strength of this House that I am able to follow Lord Morrow, the Noble Lord Morrow. I may not agree with him, but I welcome the fact that there has been an opportunity for a range of views to be expressed in this House, and I hope to offer an alternative perspective now.
Don't speak about us onto Bethnal.
Thank you very much. As has been said, the government has been considering how to criminalise conversion practices since 2017. It seems a good moment for the Lords to contribute to the ongoing debate. In my view, we need clarity on exactly what constitutes conversion practices and what doesn't. In similar legislation across the world, the law states explicitly what is included and what is excluded. Our legislation must do the same. We may not immediately agree on where conversion practices begin and end, but given since 2017, 3 consecutive Conservative Prime Ministers have all stated that conversion practices are abhorrent, I'm hopeful we can confirm this position. I want to talk about my own experience of the different types of responses to sexual orientation and gender identity: affirmative, curious, and furious. And I want to set out how these 3 responses differ from abusive conversion practices. An affirmative response is when an LGBT person is listened to, believed, their experience is respected, and they are loved for who they are, not who others determine they ought to be. An affirmative approach, in my view, gives people the time and space to consider all their options, knowing that whatever they decide, they are supported. A curious response is equally supportive and helps people keep their options open. A curious approach describes how a clinical practitioner or parent or teacher or faith leader can respond sensitively when a person shares their thinking about gender and sexuality. The practitioner is open-minded, inquisitive, supporting the individual to know and learn, asks questions, and is interested in the answers. They can offer alternative perspectives and ideas. Curiosity permits an individual to change their mind. Curiosity allows collaboration and assurance for all. It does not make a person feel bad about who they might be. Young people exploring their gender identity need a curious response. A furious response is where an LGBT person is made to feel ashamed of who they are. For me, Section 28 epitomised a furious response. The prevention of the promotion of homosexuality meant I grew up believing that I was inferior. I had to find my own way to affirmation and navigate the indignity and shame that surrounded me. But even that furious response, my lords, would not, in my view, be covered by a ban on conversion practices. Freedom of expression means people are free to hate me for who I am. I'd rather they didn't, but their fury does not, in and of itself, constitute conversion practice. What would become an offence, in my view, is the active attempts by those in a position of power to suppress and change a person's identity by force. This is not a curious response, but an abusive response. It doesn't work, it hasn't worked, and in my view, it should be banned. We've heard a little about religious freedoms today, and I want to share my experience, which I appreciate is not universal, but does demonstrate what is possible, and in part shapes my position today. I continue to practice being a Catholic, and at the age of 13 spoke with my priest about my increasingly distracting interest in girls and my growing indifference towards boys. My priest, in 1993, was not affirming, my lords. He didn't take me to an LGBT youth group, and he didn't buy me a flag. He did listen to me with curiosity, kindness, gentleness, and love. He prayed with me and gave me a copy of Revelations of Divine Love, and so introduced me to Julian of Norwich. He told me that all would be well. He implored me to do one thing: do the very best I could in my GCSEs. It was what I needed to hear. I followed his advice, and I carry his kindness in my heart today. As a young adult, I listened to the debates held here and in the other place about LGBT issues. The fury, the contempt, the lazy mockery I heard compounded my shame. The glimmers of affirmation and respect give and gave me hope. Today, LGBT people, their friends, their families, their faith leaders are listening to how we and those in the other place navigate these issues. What we say here and how we say it matters. I believe it is possible for us to find a way to agree on what constitutes conversion practices, be clear that we should ban those abhorrent acts, and collectively play our part in creating a world where curious trumps furious.